Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to talk about Ezuri the Claw of Progress. Now, yes, this is one of those lost decks that I found that I hadn't covered, and I have completely and totally rebuilt it because as soon as I opened the box and started looking through the deck, I realized what I did. I had just sleeved up the entire precon as it was because, I'd never done that, so I figured let's do it. But there was so many, there's so many better ways. So I have, hmm, I don't know that I've made it any better or any worse. There's still a few cards I would love to have in here. Of course, all the doubling cards, the doubling season, and the hardened scales and all that stuff. Uh, but did the best good with what I had. And here's what I come up with. Firstly, we need creatures because you play a small creature with power 2 or less, you get an experience counter at the beginning of combat. You can pass out X counters to a creature. Now, it's a shame that extra combat steps are exclusive to red. It'd be sweet to have one in green. It actually feels kind of green, but it's whatever. But, so what I did was, surprisingly enough, in the actual precon deck, there was a lot of cards that didn't meet those qualifications. And I think I know of one that I'm playing that has a printed power of more than two. And it was an add-in. I could not pass it up. So let's start with, I've got everything separated here by categories, and you'll notice there's a lot of creatures in each category. But let's start with ramp. Now, Ranger's Path, Rampant Growth, Kodama's Reach are all pretty much just ramp. Then, of course, we have the Key Rune, the Signet. I did go through, I changed out the Signet for the original Signet just because I like the art better. There are a few cards that I just tweak the art. It's the same card, but I just like the older printing better. And, of course, Thought Vessel. Thought Vessel is very important in the deck simply because of the no max hand size thing. Now, it's blue and green. We've got some draw. But first, let's continue with our ramp. We have Wood Elves comes into play. It's going to find you, it's going to give you an experience and a forest. Of course, the dual land elf, or the Queering Elves. Frontier Guide may be slow, but we need it. We need the mana tap ability. We'll get to it in a second. Llanowar Elf, I'm just hitting the camera and everything. Gyre Sage, I really, really like Gyre Sage. Coiling Oracle. Worst case, it's going to put a card into your hand. Secure Tribe Elder. Here again, we're Sad Robot. It's it's going to ramp you a little bit. And Peregrine Drake. Now this is beautiful. I didn't realize this had a 2 power because, we're not playing this for a beater. We never have. But it's beautiful. Now, let's look at removal. All right, hold on. Before we get to removal, these 3 cards I absolutely love, and you don't get to run them a lot together. Seedborn Muse is outstanding. I don't have to sell you on how outstanding Seedborn Muse is, but when you pair it, we're untapping all of our permanents during each other player's untap step. When you pair that with opposition in a creature-heavy deck, you get to lock down the table. Yeah, lock down the table. How sweet is that? And so I had the 2 of those, and there was something in the back of my mind going, there's something missing. Gilderbairn. The problem with Gilderbairn is, well, first off, it is a creature. It's going to give you an experience. Is that's the untap symbol. So you got to spend 3 mana and untap it to double the counters on a permanent. Now, we're not going to talk about the creepy ass art, but the getting it tapped and not dead, because tapping a creature is easy. You just got to attack with it. Well, the 1/3 is pretty fragile. So opposition lets us tap it to tap down one of their potential blockers, and then we get to spend 3 mana to untap it to double the counters that Ezuri put on something, and then we get to repeat as long as we've got the 3 mana. Yeah. Sick. And then during the next player's turn, because of Seedborn use, we do it again. Anyway, that was my 3 cards, and so from then on, I started looking for cards that let me do something with mana. Mana dumps that I can tap or whatever to give me some extra value. So, that being said, let's go into the removal. Now, Viridian Shaman, I almost took out, but I said, you know what? This is my Naturalize. Yes, I know it's not as versatile as Naturalize, and it is slower, but it kind of going to fill that role. But I was like, I'm kind of weak against enchantments, so that's why I ran back to nature. Because if you're going to play Naturalize mana, you might as well wipe them all. Yeah, we got 2 or 3 enchantments in the deck. But if there's something killing you, I'll sacrifice my opposition to make that happen. But more than likely, if I've got my opposition out, then it's all rainbows and sunshine anyway, and I probably won't need to blow up everything. Corrosion Grip, Bane of Progress, there again. Now, Manglehorn is just, well, it's definitively better than the Shaman. That's for sure, because it's the same card with an extra line that's amazing. But most decks are like, well, I'll run this over that. And I'm like, you know what? I'll run both, because they're both 2/2 creatures that's going to give me an experience. Same as, the 5 mana kill spell. Well, okay, it's not a kill spell, it didn't kill a creature, but artifact, enchantment, or land, pretty sweet. Trigon Predator is our reusable Naturalize, rapid hybridization, because for some reason I'm out of Pongifies. Yeah, weird, right? And then the Simic Doomblade. Yeah, it's a Doomblade. Flash, flying, death touch for 3 mana. This is, I'll say that this is an instant for the rest of my life, because let's face it, they're going to swing at you. They know they got you, and the only thing it doesn't, have is, of course, First Strike, which is really not in either one of the colors. Flash is, flying is, and death touch is. But it's as long as that creature ain't got some version of strike, it's going down. Yeah, it doesn't protect you from trample, but still a really good card. Phyrexian Revoker. It is a creature, as you've experienced, but you know what? We live in a time now where we have more Planeswalker commanders than ever. And the ability to just turn it off is pretty nice. Now, I consider, like, Counterspell and Negate, I consider those removal, because they just are. Mystic Snake is, of course, in there. How much you're paying for Mystic Snake is a hot topic. I feel like you're paying 2 mana for a 2/2 flash, a colorless and a green, because that's a hard counter for blue. We don't get this rate anymore. I don't know. Void Slime is also pretty cool. If I'd have had one, it would have totally been in there. And then, of course, the Archmage. You can sack her to counter that Cyclonic Rift that I am not playing, because aforementioned reasons. Now, let's look at our card draw. I'll go ahead and show you the one creature that doesn't. It's one of these things is not like the others. The Primordial Sage. I mean, play a creature, draw a card. For years, this was the defining card, and, a card with that ability had to cost 6 mana, and since they made it cost 6 mana, they gave it a 4 or 5 body. But we've recently found out, you know what? It ain't got to cost 6 mana no more. Beast Whisper is a 2/3 that does the same thing for 4 mana. So it's going to give that experience counter. And I cannot believe they put it on an elf body, an elf druid body at that. Now, granted, druids are not as powerful as elves, but elf, this, I need like 1,000 copies of this to go in every single elf deck I've got. Of course, Cold-Eyed Selkie, Orin Viper, those are not real exciting. They are good cards, but they were already in the deck, as well as the Bident. Now, Twistful. Prime Speaker Zagana, I've got her in with the card draw. She is a one-shot card draw, but, man, it's a bunch of card draw. And, of course, everybody's favorite Spy Master. He's really good. And, he'll draw you a few cards. Now, what is our next category here? Let's look at... This looks random. Okay, we go for randomness. First, let's go for beaters, I guess. A little Boggle action going with the Glade Cover Scout and the Slippery Boggle. I mean, we can put counters on them, and they can't shoot them. Spot removal, not really as dominant in our format. Of course, we all know board wipes are the thing. But, I mean, I still run some decks with some spot removal, and a lot of folks do too. But hence the reason why the 2 Bogles there. Experiment 1, just because it's on flavor. It was already in the deck. I thought about taking it out, but I didn't find anything I really liked in place of it. Hornet Nest, because, wow, I mean, it can generate... By the way, Ezuri, you don't have to cast the cards. It just has to come into play. So, getting a whole bunch of insect tokens is going to trigger Ezuri that many times. Jessican Infiltrators on just legit unblockable. Throwing a bunch of counters on her seems like a winning proposition as well. Lore Scale Codal. Of course, we have a lot of card draw, and he works with the counters. Spawn Wrath. For funsies. Yeah. Here again, when Shadowmoor came out and I saw Spawn Wrath, I really wanted to go big with a Spawn Wrath deck. And Master Biomancer. Now, this seems like a very wise use of experience counters here. Sure enough does, because every one of your creatures is going to come in. Now, of course, our favorite creature just to throw away in a pinch is, of course, Wonder. Hopefully, Wonder makes a great blocker for a couple reasons. One, nobody wants Wonder to die. So just casting it out there, it's a 4-mana 2/2. Yeah, you get that experience. And we'll probably never put the counters on it because we want Wonder to die. But your opponents know that. You would be surprised at how many attacks get deterred to somebody else because they don't want to improve your board position by killing... Because we all know I'm going to block with the Wonder just to get it that way. Now, Forgotten Ancient actually came in the deck. I swapped it out for this one. For some reason, I think the coloring is better on the original. I don't know. Maybe it's just me liking that old border. Ewit. I'm just glad Ewit's getting a reprint, even though it's in a, platinum box or whatever it is. Plax Manta. Really nice. Really nice. I don't know. I like that it's 2 mana. Yeah, it's going to give us an experience counter. But there's some part of me that kind of doubts the validity of how good is giving your team Shroud until end of turn. I would imagine when it matters a lot. But I would also have to imagine that it doesn't matter that often. So, I don't know. I'm going to try it. Like I said, there's a lot of cards that I would like to put in here and Plax Mana, let's just say it's got to earn its place. Unlike Jade Mage was one of the first. As soon as I got the Seedborn Muse, I was like, well, I need a mana dump, and putting a Saproling token to give us an experience counter and a creature, and oh my gosh, this seems like a win. So I did do that. What we got left? We got weird stuff left. Of course, Swiftfoot Boots and Lightning Greaves are just to protect Ezuri. Overrun, because at some point in time the game's got to end. That's why I've got the Beastmaster Ascension in there. Now, Verdant Confluence, it kind of does everything this deck wants to do. You know, in Dire Straits, you can just put 6 counters on something, or regrow 3 times, or triple, or all the above. I don't know. It's a good card. Spider Fog. I forgot there was a Spider Fog in this deck, so I can't remember, y'all, which deck I had that needed a Spider Fog. I know Ishkana has one, but I don't. It seemed like I needed another Spider Fog for a different deck. I don't know. But anyway, Spider Fog is really good here because all those spiders come down and they trigger Ezuri. I did leave the Hatchery in because I like fuzzy cards, apparently. There, clean that up. Because of the Seedborn Muse Edition and the ability to just crank this out every single opponent's turn. Granted, they're not going to let you get away with this forever. Seedborn's going to die. The Hatchery's going to... They're not going to let you get away with this forever. But even if you make one table revolution, you're in such a good spot, man. And our last listen to me, is Recycle. Now, Allurin, oh my gosh, I would love to have Allurin in here. I would kind of have to tweak it a little bit because some of the mana cost is a little more than 3. But Allurin Recycle is such an old combo. Heck, it came in the same precon back in the day. Allurin and Recycle was together. But play card, draw card is pretty sweet. I'm not exactly certain why this wasn't in my card draw. But love Recycle. So now let's get to some non-basic lands. We're going to just plow through the colored ones. Most of which are we don't have a whole lot of variety of enemy colors, you know. Maybe one day we'll get that fixed. But obviously running the Reliquary Tower, it was already in there, but it feels like this deck's going to draw some serious cards. Now, I have my doubts. I thought the Vastwood was really good when it was first printed, but now, I mean, I feel like it's mediocre at best. But in this particular deck, where you're untapping with the Seedborn Muse, now granted you got to cast creatures at flash, but I mean, we have a few of those, but it makes it just a shade better. Like, Heart of Progress here. Yeah, that's right. I'm not going to pretend to even pronounce the first word. The Heart of Progress is beautiful. It is beautifully political because notice nowhere on there it says your control. You can pass out a +1/+1 counter to your opponent's creatures. Now, that may buy you some goodwill. It may get you punched in the face with even bigger creatures, but it's an option. High Market was already in there. I'm not exactly a fan. I mean, I did leave it in there just because, you know, I didn't have a better answer. But as I get more and or better lands, High Market will probably come out. High Market's a great card, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's better used in a different deck, and I don't know that we're wanting to sack it. You know, the best use for this I have ever used it for is to effectively counter a Capsize, because if someone pays the 6 mana and 3 plus the buyback 3 on the capsize, as soon as they target your card, if you can get rid of that card, the capsize will fizzle. It will not go back to their hand, and it just goes to the graveyard, and they've lost their capsize. And as soon as I see one capsize, it becomes my life goal to make that happen, to make it fizzle. Rogue's Passage, because have you met me? um, Terramorphic, Evolving, and Blighted Woodlands are our search lands, of course. I'm going to count the Vivids as duels. Sure, why not? We've got a little bit of Cycle Lands and Llanowar Reborn. Here's another one that I almost put in just a basic forest for this because, yeah, it enters a battlefield with a 1/1 counter on and the creature enters. But the only thing that's kept this in there is how many games have you won and been at 1 life? Or lost and your opponent's been at 1 life? Been able to almost get there. If you could have done 1 more damage, that's why. Because I was like, at the cost of, it comes into play tapped. So that's why I did it. Mosswort Bridge, already in there, but I figured we're probably going to be able to make this total power 10 pretty easy. Well, that's what I've got for Ezuri Claw Progress. It's nothing broken. I so bad wanted to make it broken. I wanted that Allurin. I wanted that Intruder Alarm, because Allurin and Intruder Alarm is just good old not fair magic. I would have gone probably more of an elf base to get the mana, probably that dang Helix Pinnacle and Staff. It just spirals into degeneracy from there. So maybe I'm glad I didn't have those cards because, you know, sometimes I can't resist building the stupid degenerate deck. And Ezuri is one of those that could totally be that deck. It could spiral into degeneracy quick. Anyway, uh, as usual, the list is on Tapped Out. Y'all look at it. Tell me what you think. Be sure to support your friendly local game store. As I understand it, Ultimate Masters, the only place to get the box topper is buying a box from your friendly local game store. I don't know. I probably will not be doing that. It's a little out of my budget. As Wizards has informed us, it's not for everyone. Yeah. Anyway, support your local game store. They're the reason for the season. Well, that sounded bad. I guess the season would be fun. Uh, Playing Magic, they're what gives us a place to play. I'm in a Commander League right now at the local shop in Dyersburg. Shout out to Collectors Connection there in Dyersburg. And it's really fun. Kind of a hodgepodge thing that we put together from the rules of various different places. It took a lot from Sheldon Meaneries. And it's really fun. Played a few games. I'm going to lose just because, I like to do weird stuff. But anyway, I'm rambling again. We're at 23 minutes. I appreciate you watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, I think we're going to shuffle and cut.